Hello and welcome to my latest tutorial. My name's Tom and today I'm going to show you how to make this League Cup final matchday image poster. It features Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City in the upcoming League Cup final. A lot of people have been asking for more matchday images, so I thought I'll create this nice simple matchday image. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to press Command N because I'm working on a Mac, and at any point if I say Command for Windows users, I'm referring to Control. Okay, I'm going to do it in millimeters, and this is going to be for an A4 size, so US letter, I think it's called, that sort of size. So 210 by 290 millimeters, and I'm going to go for 144 pixels per inch, RGB 8-bit, and click OK. Okay, so we've got our white background. That's cool. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to bring in our image of Wembley Stadium, where the final is going to be played. I'm not sure if this is going to be a test event as well, so we might see some fans because of the lockdown rules, but nevertheless, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it, I'm just going to drop it down a little bit, maybe make it a little bit bigger, and yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to press Enter, get rid of my transform tool. Okay, I'm just going to reduce that fill to 75%, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'll come down here to Hue Saturation, and you'll see the shortcuts here. So these symbols here, these represent your shortcuts as well, especially on like these auto tones and stuff like that, just for future reference if you weren't aware of that. So I'm going to go to Hue Saturation, or press Command U. Okay, and I'm going to shrink that saturation down to -90, so we're going to get rid of those colours. And I'm going to increase the lightness up to 50. So we just want this to be a nice faint image. So we've got our Wembley Stadium there. And let's have a look. Did I mask this out a little bit? Yeah, I did. So we'll come to that in a second. Excuse me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to a new layer. So I'm going to come down to this little icon next to the trash can and click that, and that'll create a new layer. Now, if you've got some colours over here in your palette, if you press D, okay, that will reset them. Okay, you can press this little arrow to swap the colours, or you can press X on your keyboard until you've got white as the foreground colour. Okay, now I've got white as my foreground colour. I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard and press backspace. Okay, and that's going to fill this layer with white. And I'm going to reduce the opacity down to 50%. So we'll start to see Wembley coming through just a fraction. There we go. Okay, so we can still faintly see that white line, okay, but we're going to get rid of that in a second. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my grunge layer. So I've had this layer for quite a while, so I'll try and find it on online, and all the images will be in the description below. I'm going to flip it round. In fact, press Command Z, come back from there. Hang on. Bring this in again, and I'll show you the proper way to do it. Okay, so if you right click or double click, okay, and you go down and flip vertical. There we go. Then we know it's 90 degrees. And I'm going to bring it up there. Okay, and I'm just going to, it's going to grow in proportion, but if I hold Alt, okay, it's going to grow out together. And I'm going to drop it down. And I'm liking that, yes, so I'm going to hit Enter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got my watercolour. What we're going to do is we're going to mask away. So what that means is we're going to work non-destructively. So I'm going to go down here to this icon down here. This is your layer mask. When you select that, you'll see a little thumbnail pop up. Okay, so what it does is we're going to get rid of the masking. We're going to hide the pixels basically. Instead of using the eraser tool, we're going to use the mask tool. Okay, and what this will do is it will, if we mess it up, okay, we can just go back. So I'm going to hit B for my brush tool. Okay, just over here, you see this highlighted. I'm going to double click or right click. Okay, and I'm not sure which brush it is in there, but if you go to your brush presets or your brush settings, okay, if you don't see brush settings, okay, go to window at the top, okay, and come down and you'll see brush settings. There we go, I've got it ticked. Tick that, okay, and you should see it here pop up. Okay, I'm going to go for this one. So this Chalk 2, okay, it's 50 pixels in its size, okay. This should be preloaded on your Photoshop, so there should be no reason to download it. For whatever reason, if you don't have it, okay, just go for a soft brush. Okay, and I've made the spacing 5% as well. So if you just want to make sure you're running on 5% there. Okay, white So if I click this, black will subtract the pixels. So if you notice, if I put my opacity on 100 and flow on 100, paint away, gets rid of it. Now if I swap back to white, okay, flow and opacity at 100 and come across, it paints it back on. And you can see the effect we're having over here on this little window. So if I just want to fill that with white, so I'll press Alt and Backspace and it'll just delete it all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my flow down, let's try opacity and flow down to around 30%. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to, okay, so that's not enough there. In fact, I've got white settings. And there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint up. Okay, and this chalk brush I feel is a bit better than a normal soft brush. It gives it a little bit of texture. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that line down there. Now you can just keep changing, so I'll bring the flow and the opacity down a bit, just so it gives it in stages really. And I'm going to go for something like that. So it just breaks it up, so it gives it a little bit of texture. So yeah, we'll go for something like that. Okay, if you're not too happy, okay, you can just press X, have white back on there. Okay, and just paint it back on and come back down until you are happy. But I'm more than satisfied with that. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to bring in our players. Okay, so let's just check this off. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So you can see the difference I've made there. And if we come back and we want to tidy it up, okay, I can't see that line I spoke of before. If you just want to hide that there, okay, you can create another layer mask on here. Make sure you got this little window popped. Hit X, make sure you got black selected. Hit B, okay, and just run it across there just to fade out that line. Okay, so if you are, can you bring it up to around 40 there? Okay, it's really faint, you can't see it. Okay, top tip when you're masking as well, in case people weren't aware. Okay, if you hold Alt on your keyboard and hit the little thumbnail for the mask, okay, you can see where you've been painting it on. So if I hold Alt, come out of there, I'll bring this one back in, hold Alt. Okay, you can see where I've painted, and yeah, little top tip. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our players and size them up. So if you can't see the rulers along the side, okay, press Command R or Control R, and they should pop in. And if you go to Windows, and if you come down, where's the rulers? Sorry, View, Rulers, okay, and if you click Snap as well, and just check Snap to layers and document bounds. Try and get something like these settings, okay. What it does is, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some guidelines. So I'm just going to select my background layer and I'm just going to drag across, okay, and it's just going to snap into the middle. And we're just going to use these guides throughout as well. So if I go on here, press Command H, you'll see all the guides I've used for all the text and whatnot. So Command H or Control H hides it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our players. So I'll bring in, do Gareth Bale first. Going to have him at the back, and I've put him down the bottom. So just drag him up above there, and he's going to be the biggest player. So press Command T or Control T, and we'll go for something like that. And then next two did we have? We're Kevin De Bruyne, then Harry Kane. So I'll bring in, drag him in, Harry Kane. Go something like that. Okay, so we've got our players in here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a look. So I want some text up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Gareth Bale, and I'm just going to drop him down. In fact, I'm going to press Command T or Control T, and I'm just going to make him a little bit bigger. And I like that. Harry Kane, I'm just going to drop him down and press Command T. I'm just going to make him a little bit smaller. just there. So he's popping out of Raheem's shoulder. Raheem, should we make him a little bit smaller as well? Just a fraction. Phil Foden. That looks good, and I think KDB's okay as well. So we're going to have our text down here. So let me have a think. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some masking now. So Gareth Bale, hit your mask, hit B. What I'm going to do is for this one, for Gareth Bale, I'm just going to have a hard brush. So I'm just going to select a hard brush, opacity 100, flow 100. He's the back image, okay, and we just want to get rid of him because he's going to be hidden by everyone anyway. So fantastic. Harry Kane, I don't think that might be his hand, so let's just check. No, that's Kevin De Bruyne's hand. So no requirement for Harry Kane. Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, I'm going to select a soft brush this time. So layer mask, right click or double click, soft round brush, and we'll go for, I always start at 40 for both as a rule of thumb. Black selected, nice and big. Okay, we can get rid of his hand. Just paint across his shorts there. Just get rid of that straight line. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so for hit X, okay, I can just paint it back on. Phil Foden definitely, so we can see the bottom. And make sure we've got black selected. Just layer it, masking across. Now if you notice, KDB's starting to pop through there, so we'll have to get rid of KDB. So I'm just going to zoom in. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back to Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, and just get that blue shining through. So just so Phil Foden pops up. Just this little bit of attention to detail that you've just got to try and keep on top of. And blends in quite nicely there with the blue with the shirt as well. So we're happy with that. And then Raheem Sterling again. Okay, we're just going to mask across the bottom of his arms and his shirt. I want to get rid of that straight line as well. If you want, you can use that brush that we used before. Let's have a look. How does that look? Not too bad. I'm not sure. I kind of prefer the soft round brush. So what I'll do is bring that flow. Just want to get rid of that white line there. Okay, if I make it a bit bigger as well, just do that. We'll get rid of the initial bit and then paint it back on there. And I'm struggling to get rid of that line. Okay, come on. We're going to have some text there anyway, so just want to hide that line there, just attention to detail. Yep, so that will be okay. Now, if you notice, okay, these players have got a little bit of clarity and texture to them. So how have I done that? I hear you ask. So what we've done is we'll go to Gareth Bale. Now we're going to do the same for every single player. Okay, he's already a smart object. If he's not a smart object, right click and convert to smart object. Okay, we're going to go to filter, camera or filter. Okay, we're going to do this for every player, nice and basic. Okay, when you get into the weeds of it, all right, you can play around with exposures, contrasts, and stuff. I've done a tutorial on camera or filter before, just like a basic one, how to make your images pop. It's the one with Conor McGregor in front of the cage. Okay, go check that out. That should be popping up here on the right. I'll link that in the description as well. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to texture. I'm just going to bring it up. And we'll try 40 and clarity. We'll go for 30. Okay, and if I click down here, before and after. Okay, you can just see the difference there. You can play with the shadows, the blacks, all that sort of stuff. However, just for this tutorial, I'm not going to. So again, get rid of that smart filter there. See a small difference. What we're also going to do is we're going to create a new layer. Okay, I'm going to clip it. So hold down Alt on your keyboard and hover between the layers until you see this little symbol and click it. And we're going to go to Edit, Fill. Okay, 50% grey in the contents, mode normal, opacity 100%. Okay, and this is called Doge and Burn. If you follow my tutorial before, you'll know what I'm doing. Okay, we've filled it with this grey. Change your blend mode to overlay, so this is how your pixels interact with the layer underneath. And I'm going to go over here to the burn tool. Okay, range, midtones, exposure 15%. And if I come in to Gareth, okay, I'm using my bracket keys to make it bigger and smaller. Okay, just any shadowy areas under his chin and his hair. Okay, I'm just going to accentuate it around his eyes, to his chin there, and here, and see the difference I've made there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to highlights, for Doge tool now, range, highlights, exposure 10%. Okay, and just wherever the light is, again, just going to paint it on underneath his cheek. Okay, there's loads of different techniques you can do in sports editing as you start to learn and understand the program. It's absolutely fantastic, and you can see the small difference we've made there. Now what you want to do is as well, you want to do this for every single player now. So I'll just do one more, we'll do Harry Kane. Okay, so like I showed you before, select your layer. It's already a smart object. Go to filter, camera raw filter, where are you there? Okay, you can do your before and after. And all we're worrying about on this one is texture. Okay, so it might not be plus 40 for this one, but we'll go and have a look. And the clarity plus 30. Okay, for each player it's going to be different. Okay, so just have a little play around. Click OK. Yeah, and I can see the difference it's made there visually. Select a new layer. Okay, so rather than hold Alt and hover, what you can do is right click and go down to create clipping mask. Okay, and it just clips it below. So anything on this layer now only interacts with the layer underneath. I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, 50% grey, all the settings should be the same. Click OK, change that blend mode to overlay, and same again. What we'll do is I like to start on the shadows first. So using my keys underneath there, underneath his chin, so it does make a bit of a difference on Harry Kane. It's quite a high res image. His eyes, his hair as well. And then I'm going to get in the nuts and bolts of it into his ears. And around his collar, something along here. And these little creases here in his shirt. Okay, you can see the small difference we've made there. Doge tool, okay, all the settings should be the same. And on his forehead as well, around his nose. And cheeks and neck. Command 0 will resize it there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, I'm not going to do it just for the purposes of this tutorial. You get the idea. We're just going to do the exact same. So for every single player, okay, camera raw filter, increase your texture and clarity. If you want to play around with the blacks, the shadows, the whites, all that sort of stuff, now's the time to do it. And then create a new layer, clip it, fill it with 50% grey, overlay, and then your dodge and burn tool, and you can't go wrong. So now all that's missing is the text. So I'm going to put some names at the top. So let's go. What we'll do is we'll do white and then grey. So we'll start. We'll do Gareth Bale's name. So if it's black for the second, it's fine. So I'm using a text called Gotham Black. What I'll do is I'll link it in the description below, and then spelt his name wrong there. Gareth Bale. Okay, go to your character tool. Okay, again, if you don't see that, click on the window at the top and select it. And then if you press Command A to highlight it all, or Control A, okay, You've got loads of good settings in here. So what we're trying to do is the gap between the letters, we'll go back to 30, and then the size of the text, we'll go for 23, something along those lines. Okay, for the colour for the top, so I'll just highlight the top, select it, and we'll choose some white. And then for the colour underneath, I'd like a nice grey colour. Yeah, and click OK. And then you'll notice on your swatches, OK, they should go to those colours. And click OK. Did I have white and grey on the last one? I've done it the wrong way around. It doesn't matter. OK, and then all we're simply going to do now is, OK, so what we can do is, with Gareth's name, we can just drop it at the top. Command T. Yeah, happy days. What we'll do is we'll do Kevin De Bruyne. But what I'm going to do is, I've got Gareth Bale set up. Okay, I'm just going to bring a guide down, and I'm just going to drop it there. So KDB's name will be there. So go for text. So Kevin De Bruyne. I hope I'm spelling that correctly. And again, with the white, I'm going to just click over here on my swatch. Did that do it? Yeah. Come down. Okay, if it's not working on your swatch, just so you got the same colours. Okay, just do it manually. And what we're going to do is Command T. Now, when I said for the snap, what it'll do is it'll set it for each one. So go for somewhere like that. So you see it snapping, snapping to him, and then you can use hit V for your move tool. You get this up here. Okay, you can just chalk it up the top. So what you can do is play around with the size as well. So I can quite clearly see that they're going to be too big. What I'll do is I'll just do one more just to show you again, just for the purpose of the tutorial. Hit T for my text tool, and we'll do Harry Kane. Just bring that down slightly, and then Harry is going to be in white. If you hold Shift, okay, and tap your keys, okay, that's another way to highlight it if you're struggling. And sorry, it won't great. Go back to my move tool, and there we go. It's popping 171. Yeah, so you can just link it in. So this side was level with Kevin. So if I link it in there, choose my keys there so get it on that line. There we go, something along those lines. Okay, and you can add more names, but what we're doing just for the purpose of the tutorial, just wanted to show you that. Okay, so Command H or Control H will bring your guides in. Change the sizes, so hit your text tool, hover over them. Okay, go to your character tool, and all these settings, have a little play around with these. So this one will press Command A to highlight it. This will like shrink it. You see how it's shrinking down there, flattening it, or you can stretch it up. There's quite a lot of things you can do with all the metrics and stuff. Okay, the size, the shape, the distance between the two sets of words. Okay, the letters spread out, which I'm going to show you in a second. So, happy days, waffling on. So we've got our names along the top. What we need to do now is we need some text. So, Matchday image. So what I'm going to do is you can group them as well. So Harry Kane, hold Shift, select the bottom name just there. Okay, press Command G, it'll group it, and you just call that players' names. And just because I like my document set up, I'm just going to drag that to the top. Okay, I'm going to create a new layer. T for my text tool. Okay, I want it in black. And this time, nice and big. Start up here. Match day. And straight away, I'm really happy with how that looks. So I'm just going to drag that up, and we'll just hide the potential where the line was, where the bottom of Raheem's arms and his shirt, his waist there. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the spacing. Okay, if you're not, hit your text tool. Okay, hit Command A, go to your character tool and just change it all around, but the spacing is 30 pixels. So yeah, I'm really happy, no need to change anything there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a stroke. So I'm just going to double click my layer to bring up my layer styles. I'm just going to click here on stroke. Okay, and size 4 pixels, no, but what we want to do is we want to make it white. Click OK, and it's on the outside, and I just want 1 pixel, 2 pixel, and I'm happy with that. So it just stands out a little bit more. Yep, so happy days. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Command T. I'm just going to check that it's lined up. It's snapped into place, and you see there. Just going to shuffle it across. So a little square there, yeah, I'm happy with that. And then got my Matchday level selected. Just going to snap in some rulers now. Some lines, some guides. There we go. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. So hit the U for your rectangle tool, okay. Make sure you've got shape selected. We'll go for a fill of black, stroke none. Okay, and if you hold shift down and just drag, in fact, no, don't hold shift down, because it'll do it. And then if you see how it's snapped in just there, yeah, happy days. Okay, and if it's not lined up properly, because you can see there, I'm going to hit my keys just to bring it across. Okay, it's one of those ones where the pixels either side of it, but I'm happy with that. So we've got our rectangle tool. And then next, we're going to bring in our logos. So Manchester City will be the home team, I believe. So 0, come out of there. So is this the 4th time they're going to win it, I think? Absolutely crazy. Well, no bias. I don't want to say who wants to win. But I don't want Man City doing a quadruple. God. Never hear of the end of it off one of my mates. And I'm just going to bring it down around here. Now, what you can do is as well with this, okay, you can size them up, but it just didn't look right for me. So if I come here, if you notice on this, I think I've got the cockerel or this little BTEC liver bird. Okay, he's not in line because it didn't look right to my eye. So I wanted to make that Spurs logo a little bit bigger, and I'm happy with how it's turned out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little shape here. So rectangle tool, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my ellipse tool. Okay, I'm just going to drag something like that. It's already filled black like it was before. We're not putting a stroke or anything on it. Hit Command T. Just going to use my keys to nudge it across. Okay, going to hit T for my text tool. White. And it's already on Gotham black, and it's going to be like 9 or something. And I'm just going to put VS. I'm just going to drag it down till it fits in. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and hit hold Command or Control. Okay, select the new layer icon and drop a layer below the verse and the ellipse. So we've got a layer here. Okay, come back over to your rectangle tool. Select the rectangle tool. Okay, zoom in, and I just want a tiny little line as well. Hit Enter. Sorry, hit V. There we go. And zoom out there. Press Command H to get rid of those lines. And then what else did we do? We put the details of the match in. So again, you can just type that away. So put it to black so I can see it straight from the get-go. And size we'll go for 15 or something. Sunday 25 April 2021. Okay, I think I've missed the League Cup final text, but you can add all that in. Press Command H. I've centralized it. So let's have a look. Yeah, don't forget to put your League Cup final text in. And yeah, we did another rectangle and then a line, and then that was pretty much us done. So I'll bring this up. Okay, rectangle tool. In fact, go back to your, make sure you got your level selected, bring your guide in again, this time for that layer there, and rectangle tool, hit enter, looks good. And then our logos, so the Carabao Cup, showing my age here, but it used to be called the Coca-Cola Cup when I was a little lad. That's how I always refer it to before it became the Wellington Cup. Carabao, go for Etihad for the main shirt logo, okay. If you're doing this for one of your teams, it's not really necessary, it just adds a little bit of detail and it gives it that sort of like official partner one. And AIA, I'm sure they're still the Spurs partners, and we want it in there, so we need to size these up. So as long as the middle one is central, we'll go for something like that. But what you can do is just bring in a guide. So select your Etihad logo. Okay, bring in a guide from the bottom. Okay, and then you can just line them up. But if I zoom out, there is our Matchday image logo. So the main meat of it was really just masking away Wembley and the grunge texture. It's quite a nice texture anyway. Adding the players and then just doing that effect on them with the fill, the dodge and burn, sorry, and the texture and clarity. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Okay, if you did, please hit that like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Go check out the rest of my sports content. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a tutorial very soon.